Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh my goodness, what a morning it has been. It's cold. Good afternoon to everyone that's joining me from around the world, because as we know, YouTube is like everywhere, right? So, good afternoon, good evening to those of you that are in other parts of the country. Let's check on our chat. Make sure everything is working right. Everything is looking amazing. Remember that if you do want to chat with me here on the live stream, please feel free to do right here on YouTube. This is an exciting time for you in your life. What we are doing is that we are planning your wedding series. We're getting ready for your wedding, but we're doing it a little bit differently. We're starting with 14-year-old you. I know, nobody gets married at 14 these days, right? But we're talking about how you can prepare starting at that age, whether you are the groom or the bride, or if you're even the parents and grandparents and uncles and aunts. So I know that many people think that it's just the bride and groom that need to be planning and paying for their wedding, but you'd be surprised how many things that other family members can help along the way, starting at age 14. Now we are going to be fast forwarding the age that you actually get proposed to. So don't worry, we're not staying at age 14 for a really long time in this series at all. It's actually just a few episodes. So I hope that you guys have been enjoying them so far. But we will be fast forwarding to the age that you do get proposed to, which could be any age because we all are on a different journey. Not all of us are going to get proposed to at the same time. And so it's going to be different for everyone. Now, let's talk a little bit about what the wedding series is. Your wedding series is planning your wedding through a wedding series of events. And those events include the proposal. Hopefully, it's a surprise one. I love surprises. I know not everybody does, but I love surprises. So, a proposal, the engagement party, if you're going to have one, the engagement photo shoot, you're going to have dress shopping or gown shopping, bridesmaids proposal, groomsmen's proposal, bachelor, or a hen do party, depending on what part of the country that you are from or what country you're from. We also have the bridal shower or wedding shower. Some people do one, some people do both. And there's also the rehearsal dinner, the rehearsal the day before the wedding, the welcome party for those guests who don't live where you live. And then there is the get ready with me the morning of the wedding for the bride. And you can also have some clips for the groom as well. I've seen that and it's so amazing he did that. And then you also have the wedding ceremony and reception. Now, some people have after parties as well after the wedding is over. Now, you don't have to do all of these things, but when we're talking about your wedding series, that's what we're talking about. A slew of events, okay? And we are planning that from the beginning. We're taking our time. We're going to go a whole year into this planning. And guys, it's going to be amazing. There is going to be some surprises along the way where we're not always going to be in the studio. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait for all the surprises. So there's a lot of surprises that are coming. So yeah, get excited, get into it, you guys. Get cozy. This is your wedding series. So why am I here? Why am I here as a part of your wedding series? So as your content creator, I provide affordable wedding videography for every single event in your wedding series. This way, you and all of your guests can remain hands-free. That means that, we are living in a content creator world. Everybody wants to take a photo and a picture and a video. A photo and a picture, they're the same thing. Yes, everybody thinks that they are a camera person. So just know that I am your personal paparazzi. I am an expert in this. And I will be able to capture everything all in my hands rather than you're worrying about trying to carry yourself out to all of your events in your hands, okay, or your guest. This way, everybody will get to live the moment with you. Now, because I'll have the cell phone lens, I'm letting you know from the beginning and from the proposal all the way through the reception, I am going to be there with you. I am there with you. So lights, camera, action. Here's some advice. Let's start the show. And let's watch your love story unfold. Ah! Okay, I'm so excited. You guys, sometimes I have to calm down because I get so excited about these, and I love weddings so much. I love weddings. I love people. I just love to be a part of your big day. And so I have to take a breath. I have to calm down. It's just a wedding. No, what? Whoever said that? No way. A wedding is so amazing. It's such a milestone in one's lives, right? There's like the wedding, there's like the baby shower when you get pregnant and stuff and all that. And so there's so many beautiful milestones in our life. There's, getting that career opportunity that you never thought would happen. And obviously having and planning your wedding is right up there with all of those things. So this is the part that I get excited about: weddings. My wedding, everyone's wedding, doesn't matter who it is. Let's jump into today's topic. I am rambling. I am super, super rambling. So today's topic is going to be focused on living with your parents after you graduate high school and college. Yes, I know. We are preparing for marriage and your wedding before he proposes. So just understand, this is before the proposal, how you can prepare. Okay. Today is going to be the bride's perspective. So we are going to go back and do the groom's perspective on this entire thing. And some stuff will overlap. So we'll go through that like quickly for this. So if you're keeping up, you are about, this is right after you've graduated high school and college. Now you are about 22, 23 years old, depending on who you are. There are some people that are graduating high school early and graduating college early. So some people might be actually 18 at this point in their life after they're done with college. I know that's surprising, right? That some people are graduating so early, but there are people who are completely done with college at 18 years old. I've met them, and I think that's so amazing. I think it's pretty cool myself. So yeah, depending on where you are in your life, this is talking about when you're done with school. And that means if you went away to school, or if you went to school in your same place, same town, you are going to be, this advice is about you living with your parents after that time. Now listen, you don't have to take any of this advice. This is my advice through life lessons and journeys. And I have been married for a little bit over 6 years now. Yay! Oh, congratulations to us. And I want to share some of my advice as your content creator. I just want to share some of my advice with you, okay? This is actually going to be a part 2 for the bride's perspective. For anyone who's keeping notes, this will be a part 2. I have my notes here, and we are going to jump right in, okay? So let's talk about before you are proposed to, right? And what's happening after school? What's happening after your college years? So the question that you may be asking yourself is, where am I going to live? Well, a lot of people decide they want to get an apartment. They want to go rent, right? They want to go rent something. That's the majority of people. Now, I know there are some people who can own right out of school, but remember, this is the bride's perspective that we're talking about, and it's just my advice that you don't have to take if you don't want it, but it's just to help you if you do want some help. Okay, so you may be asking yourself, where am I going to live? I know I went through that when I have finished college. It was like, well, where do I go now? Like, what do I do? So, and not everybody goes to college. So you may be asking this question after high school. That's why I said after high school or college, right? So not everybody has to go to college either. Some people are going to school online, all kinds of stuff, right? So where you want to live. Some good advice is to stay at home, live with your parents. They can be a great source for you. And that's what we're going to talk about as we go along this episode. So, I want you guys to understand that this is a strategic move. This is a strategic move, okay? And the reason why it's because you can save money, also accountability, and you can have your parents' guidance, okay? So let's look at part one. Why stay with parents? Financial advantages. So that would be our very first bullet point for part one, which is saving money. Okay. Now, this includes saving money on, like I said earlier, rent, utilities, groceries, these sort of bigger expenses that people jump right into having as soon as they're done with school. They're just like, well, I'm done with school. It's time for me to start living my life. I need to get out here and I need to buy a home or rent a home or rent an apartment or get a bunch of roommates and get out of the house, right? Why do we have this mindset? Why do we buy into this that we need to like move out and like go spend all this money on, you know, this it's a huge commitment to have rent every single month, to have utilities every single month. We already have our cell phone. That's a given, right? All of us have a cell phone now, and hardly anybody has a landline at their home. They're using for like their personal use, not a fax machine or for their, whatever it is for. And so most people have their cell phone bill. So you have your cell phone bill, you've got your car, you've got your car insurance by this point in your life, right? Remember, we fast forwarded to this part. And so you've already got those three expenses that are also big for some people. Those are big, those are huge. Why do you now want to go and put yourself into, okay, let me now pay for rent, let me pay for utilities, let me pay for, all these extra things. Now, I'm not saying, I have on here also groceries. I'm not saying that you can't buy groceries living with your parents. I think that you should. I think that, like, even though you live with your parents, you should take the time to sit down with them prior to you deciding, okay, this is what I want to do before marriage, before I get married. Is that I don't want to like step out and then go living on my own and start playing house on my own, right? Waiting for, as a bride, waiting for your groom to come and then being prepared when he does. Okay. So I think that you should have that talk with parents and talking about, okay, what can I pay for, or what am I willing to pay for? What would you guys like for me to pay for? You could start there. What would you guys like me to pay for? And if it's over your head and you're like, well, I may as well like rent, like, well, I don't want to pay this much, or I can't afford that, that's okay, because your parents might be like, well, we thought that you would be out of here. And so like, okay, let's just be real. There are some parents that are like, we thought you'd be gone. We can live our best life now. And, we could be wild and free. There are some parents that are going to say that. All right. Well, in that case, you may want to go live with grandparents. Okay. So don't stop there. Don't just stop with the parents. Go talk to your grandparents. Go talk to an aunt, an uncle. We've already told my niece, me and my husband, because it's her uncle. And so we've already told her that, like, you can come live with us. If you don't want to live with your parents after you're done with college, because she's going to go away to college, and that's fine. That's her decision to make. She wants to go away to a different state. But afterwards, we don't want her like trying to, get a place on her own, like renting and all that stuff. And let's talk about why people really do that. Let's be real. Okay. Can we be real? Can we be real? People want to live on their own because they don't want their parents to continue to tell them what to do, when to be home, their curfew, watching how they eat, watching how they conduct their language, watching what they wear. And then the big kicker is that they want privacy. and you know why you want privacy, okay? And you don't need any privacy. You don't need it. You need to live your life and waiting for your groom, your husband to come along and you guys figure out if you're a good match together. And we're going to talk more about that as well. And then you move on to you live with your husband next, okay? It's important that you don't step out of that. It's important that you don't step out of that. And maybe more people would actually be married sooner rather than later because they were saving themselves for marriage. They weren't stepping out of the steps, the orders in order to be married. Which is a whole that's a whole thing, but I'm just giving you some advice on living with parents and the why, okay? And most of you are going to be able to read between the lines here, so I do want to hear, like, when we talk, like, what is your, what, you don't even have to share it with me. You can share it with yourself, okay? You don't have to tell me, but you can be thinking about these things. Share it with yourself, share it with your parents, but talk to somebody. Don't just be stepping out and just doing these things thinking that, like, you have to do it because everybody else has done it this way, okay? Because you don't. You really don't. Okay, bullet point number 2, building financial cushions. Oh, yes, this, I love that I put this bullet point here. Building a financial cushion for future expenses like a wedding, a home, or family. So this is the time that while you're living with parents, this is a time that you're building financial cushions. And it could be for your wedding, right? So that's what we're talking about, preparing for your wedding. This is a way to do it. People are like, oh, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. I don't have any money. Well, listen, we've already talked about who pays for the wedding. Go back and rewatch that if you don't remember. And we already are talking about who pays for the house. Go back and rewatch that episode if you need to. But now we're talking about what is the bride going to be paying for in order to be getting ready for marriage and the wedding. There's a lot of other slew of expenses that show up in a wedding. You've got some more things than just the wedding ceremony and the wedding reception. You've got other wedding series events that may need a little bit help with paying for, like, say, the bachelorette party. Okay, maybe your bridesmaids don't have a lot of money and, like, they can't pay for it. We're going to talk about who pays for the bachelorette party. That's coming. It's coming, guys. Don't worry. It's all coming. It's all coming. As I said, it's just some good advice for you to understand going into this, because a lot of people are trying to figure out, like, who pays for all this, and they're freaking out and they're going in debt, 50,000 or more in debt because of a wedding that's one day. And that shouldn't be. That should not be the case. Okay. So you could be saving up for some of these things, as well as just the smaller stuff, like getting your nails done, getting your hair done, getting your hair did. um, you also could be saving for your wedding gown, depending on what style you're going to get. I know most people are calling it a wedding dress, but I call it a wedding gown. You could be saving for your wedding shoes. Ooh, you could be saving for that jewelry that you've always wanted for your wedding day, or that perfect hair clip that you've always wanted. Like we said, start visioning for these things. And so while you are, not married yet, while you're not proposed to yet, you can start right now building this financial cushions for your family, for your wedding day, your wedding series of events, and for your home. There's going to be little things that you're going to want here and there, like furniture and things like that. And so it will be great to be such a wonderful helpmate that, like, you do have some financials to bring to the table, and it's not just all on the groom after you guys come back from the honeymoon and move into that wonderful home of yours. Okay. So that's, you guys, I know that a lot of people are, their dream is not to be a homeowner. I do understand that. But the other side of this is that I had a really good friend, and it was really cool that, well, let me rewind. It was really cool what she did. Okay. She had been saving. And when she got married, her husband had been swindling all his money all these years, and she didn't know. All this time, he hadn't been saving for anything. and they were going to be renters, which is fine. They don't have to own a home ever. You don't have to. Nobody tells you you have to do that, right? Well, they were going to be renting, and they were going to be renting nice places, like high-rise condos was what they really wanted to rent, in different parts of the country, and that's great, right? Something different, something different. And so, and I love high-rise condos. I used to live in one in Las Vegas, and let me tell you, that is an amazing experience. It's an amazing life. It's a lot quieter than people would think and suspect, but and it's so clean. Oh my gosh, people just care about where we live. You know what I mean? Like, I love that in comparison to apartments. But anyways, we're getting off tangent here. Getting off topic. What she had done, because she had saved, she was able to pay for a full month of rent, like a full year of rent. Rent right now, to give you perspective as of right now, is like anywhere from $13 to $2,000 a month, depending on the size of a one bedroom. One bedroom is upwards of $2,000. Okay. So you multiply that times 12 months. She was able to pay that amount of money to the landlord of that apartment complex. I mean, of that condominium place. I'm sorry. That's amazing. That's amazing because she had saved. So I'm not saying that you have to buy a home. You don't have to be saving up to buy a home. You could be saving up to buy a condo. Now listen, or to rent a condo. Now listen, I will say this. I wish that it was the husband that had been saving rather than gambling his money, putting down that kind of money at the beginning of them moving into this place, right? But that wasn't the case in their situation. So that's too bad. That really, really is too bad. But she did that, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I don't know a lot of people that could do that. Oh, that's so good. But that's why we're doing this series, is to help you in order to be able to do something like that, right? All right, let's keep going here. The other reason why you would want to live with parents is, and remember, we're still in part one, is because of emotional and practical support. Parents can offer guidance and support while transitioning into adulthood. So, this is really good. We have to remember that parents definitely are a great guide. They are a great guide, they're a great source in our life. Now, I know that everybody has the best parents in the world, but there are some things that you can see, you can find some good things in all parents. I truly believe that. You can find something good in all parents. And remember what we talked about. If you feel like you can't find anything at all, any kind of thing that you would want to role model after, okay? Model after. Then you go and you look at your grandparents, look at your uncles and aunts, look at people at your church who are couples who are treating each other respectively, and you can see fruit in their life, okay? Things like knowing how to treat one another, things like knowing how to live life together, things like keeping a job. That's a really good one. Okay. Things like they know how to, if something breaks around the house, the husband knows how to fix it, or he at least knows who he can call to fix it. You know what I mean? He doesn't just let things just kind of continue to be broken. So just remember, this is advice for you. I know that these episodes in the beginning have been a lot of like, you got to do this, but it's because I'm so heartbroken with how the family dynamic has broken down in our world. It is really broken down. And it's because nobody wants to start from the beginning, which is teenage years. We've got to do better. We've got to get stronger. We can't do this by ourselves. It's a lot of individualized me attitude out here. And people aren't understanding that, like, we need each other. We're people. We need each other. Families, we need each other. Okay? We need to be better parents, better grandparents, better aunts and uncles, better friends, you know? Like, it's just really, really hurting my heart really bad. And that's why I'm doing these in order to help somebody plan their wedding from the beginning, actually, the beginning, not just from the proposal on. Oh, I'm so excited, I'm engaged. Yes, that's a great time. It's amazing, right? But there's so much that happens for planning for a wedding before we even get to the proposal. Before we even get there, we've got to work on these things. Okay, let's keep going. The next bullet point is going to be focused growth. When you live with your parents, you can have a focused growth. And this means that the stability of living at home allows time for self development. Now, we've talked about self development in one of our previous episodes when it came to both the groom and the bride. So we're not going to belabor this too much. You guys know we talked about journaling and things like that. Just remember self development. This is a time that you have time for that. A lot of times people feel like, oh, I'm just working to pay my rent. I'm just working and working to pay, my light bill and, all the bills that are in my life. And I don't have time to work on myself. Well, guess what? When you live with your parents, you got time to work on yourself. Okay. You got time. You guys are going to figure out what bills that they need for you to pay for and still have like responsibility in your life, even as a bride, even as the lady, you still want to have um, some kind of idea of like responsibility of finances. So it's good that they like say, okay, um, you're going to be paying for just the electric bill for the duration of the time that you're here. We just want you to pay for that. And let's say the electric bill is $100 a month. Great. You know that while you're working, you're going to set aside $100 for sure every single month. Okay. And that should be something that you could do. Then the other thing they may say, okay, we're going to have some food, we're going to have some groceries that are for the family, but then like, if you want any of your special things or special treats, or if you do like protein shakes or whatever, we want you to pay for those on your own. We're not going to buy those, but there will be stuff that's here for the family. They may tell you, we want you to cook on certain days. We want you to clean the living room on certain days, whatever it might be. You want to still be practicing and doing like some of those things that we talked about in our previous episode about how we were saying like observing your mom and observing how she is as a wife and a mother and a helpmate. You want to start now walking in some of those things. You want to start like helping to clean the house, helping to cook. If you have siblings that still live at home, maybe you're driving them to school, things like that before you go to work. And so just remember, these things are going to help you to be a stronger adult as well. So it's not even just about marriage and your wedding, it's also helping you to be a stronger adult, which is really, really great. What is our next part? Oh, we're in part 2 already. Okay, so we're moving on to part 2, preparing for marriage while living at home. Preparing for marriage while living at home. Financial preparations. Let's talk about a little bit more about financial preparations. This is a great idea. You can open a high yield savings account and start budgeting for wedding cost, a future home, and other family things. So we talked a little bit about that previously in our part 1 of the bullet points. And so here we are with now being practical about it. Go out there, get yourself a separate savings account that's just for weddings. So you might be having like, normally people have a checking where their money goes to direct deposit from work. So they have like a checking account. They've got a savings account for whatever they want that for. And now this is the time while you're living with parents to look into getting a high yielding bank account. Maybe it's going to help give you interest. Okay. And you put money in there for like your wedding savings. Now, remember, we talked about who's paying for the wedding reception and the ceremony. We're not talking about that for this, right? So we already talked about who's paying for that. Go back and watch that episode if you don't remember. But you want to be saving for other wedding expenses, okay? We talked about that a little bit right now in this episode earlier in part 1 of this section, okay? So, and then just little things for yourself. Maybe you want to do a little vacation before you get married or before you even are proposed to. Maybe you want to do like a girls trip or something. So, be putting some money aside that's going to be growing every single month, every single week, and who knows how long you're going to be in this stage of your life, but now you're already building up these really great habits that are going to help you for when you become a bride. Yay! All right, let's keep going. Still talking about financial preparation. We are talking about pay. Oh, yes, I remember I wrote this note down. Pay down any debt and establish good credit. So, this is the time in your life that you want to pay down any debt that you might have. You may have some debt from college. You may have gotten a credit card bill because you wanted to pay for something special, like a TV in your room or something. I don't know. I don't deal with debt and credit. But if you do have debt or credit from college years or from whatever, hospital bill, whatever it might be, you want to go ahead and focus on paying this off well before you get engaged. You don't want to bring this into your marriage. You don't want to. If you can avoid it, this is why we're talking about it. I know that many of you are like, well, I already had a bunch of debt before I got married, and I had to bring it into with me when I got married because it was still like hanging over my head. I just couldn't get rid of it. Well, probably because you were renting an apartment. Probably because you tried to go out there and be a homeowner before you were ever proposed to. So you could have been living at home with your parents, right? And this is the time you could have been paying off that debt. Look at that. Look at how that works. Isn't that amazing? I'm telling you, these are practical skills that are going to help you. You can't tell me that they wouldn't. If you actually put it into like doing it, practicing it, I'm trying to tell you, you know that it would help. You know that it would help. So you guys can't deny. You can't deny it. You cannot deny it. So yeah, you want to make sure that you are taking the time out to dwindle down that debt. Just pay it off. Just pay it off. Okay? Just do it. Just do it. Now, sometimes things happen, like hospital bills. I'll give you a wonderful, fabulous story about a fabulous debt that I did get myself into forever ago before I was ever engaged. Okay. And like I told you guys, I don't do like debt and I don't do credit. But I do actually remember this one time before. It was a long time ago. That's why I forgot about it. But I do remember this one time before where I did have a hospital bill that was $5,000. And I was only in the hospital for like overnight. It wasn't even 24 hours. It was overnight. Okay. And the bill came out to $5,000. That's a lot of money. And all it was different doctors coming into the room like every hour and like not even doing anything to like really help me to get better. I left out of there still sick the way that I was before I came in. It was awful. But awful experience. But I had to pay this $5,000 debt. Let me tell you how this debt was paid. Okay. When I moved to Las Vegas, I worked so hard. I had 2 jobs. I had 2 different jobs. One was my career love, and the other one was just a regular job. And within 3 months, at the end of summer, I was able to pay off that debt. That debt was gone. I literally wrote them a check for that amount. Done, finished, no longer in my life. You're out of here. And that's why I said I totally forgot about it because this was forever ago. But after that, because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want this over my head. I didn't want this going on with me for the rest of my life. And I know a lot of people don't look at it like that, but like to me, if you can get a double job and get rid of that debt and don't be paying for rent or paying for like being, buying a home or being a first-time homeowner and all that kind of stuff by yourself, and you can just live with your parents or grandparents or aunts and uncle. You know what I mean? Like I said, there's other people you can live with besides your parents. I know I keep saying parents, but do it. Do it and watch how you have extra money to pay for things like that, okay? As well as still save for your future. I'm telling you, it's great. All right, let's move on to the next major point when we talk about part two. This is going to be skill building. Now, we've already talked about cooking, expand your repertoire of meals. So before we talked about just learning how cooking and nutrition and things like that in one of our previous episodes when you were like more of a teenager, 14-year-old you. Now we're fast forwarding to after these high school and college years, right? And so now you're going to be really, really building up that repertoire. Now you're going to be like building up, you're going to have some sort of like cooking cooking books that you're going to be looking at or cooking channels on YouTube. You're really going to be building up that cookbook, okay? Now you have some form of little digital notebook online, or you have like a physical notebook depending on who you are. I like to write stuff down. So I've got like a little notebook of little recipes. You're going to be talking to your grandparents about their favorite recipes and stuff like that. And you're just going to be really honing in a lot of like your favorite things and building up those skills during this time of living at home with your parents. Look at all this. Guys, you can't do any of this whenever you're trying to like be stressed out about the rent getting paid. It is so stressful. It's so stressful. So getting to live at home with your parents and knowing that like, I can focus on what kind of meals I'm going to be making, how to meal prep, things like that. What am I having for breakfast each day? Breakfast is the most important meal of the day because it helps you to have brain power to get through the beginning of your day until you have lunch. So a lot of people like to skip that, which is silly. I don't understand. But you're going to be building like different little meals for each and every part of the day and having good snacks. I love it. I love it. I love it. I hope you guys are enjoying this. All right, next bullet point, household management. So this is going to be practice maintaining and tidy space. Like, keeping that space clean, managing time and organizing. Like I said, this is another one that we did talk about in our episodes before. So if you want more details on that, go ahead and watch those. But just know that this is about organizing your time and managing your time as far as like cleaning and tidying up your place. So getting yourself on an actual routine of like, now this is, you're working. You did not just in high school and have like school curriculum and school extracurricular activities. This is more about like you're an adult, you're done with college, and now you're like, okay, I have a job, and how am I going to manage like also cleaning this place up? Okay, like I said, cleaning your room, or whatever your space is. Maybe it's the garage, maybe it's a pool house or something. Woo, pool house, that's fancy. Cleaning your bathroom, cleaning up the common areas, not just leaving that for your parents to do. Okay, like the living room, the media room, things like that. Maybe they don't have you living in the garage, and so you need to clean out the garage sometime as well. Our next bullet point is going to be still under skill building, and it's going to be event planning. Start learning about wedding planning by helping friends or family with events. So this is a time in your life where it's time to start thinking about event planning. No, you don't need to be an event planner. You don't need to be an event planner. No, but it's good to start building those skills in order to learn how events work, how, how you can learn how to, bring something to the table when it comes to planning out your event, looking at like what you like and what you don't like. People use certain things at weddings and events that like they really, really love when it comes to decor and also for food and music. And so you want to pay close attention to those things when you start going to events and weddings around this time in your life. Because you haven't been proposed to yet, this is before the proposal, you want to start getting some ideas of like what you like I said, and maybe start building like a little like inspiration board on your computer that you can look at, you can add to, you can take away. And as the years come, they might change depending on how long you're in your stage of this life. Yes, depending on how long in your life you're at this stage, it's going to change, right? Because maybe you really like lace in the beginning. I love lace and pearls, but not everyone's going to love lace and pearls, right? So you may go to a wedding that has that, and then you put that in the like, no way, I don't want that column, you know? But then on your inspo little like board thingy, you may have something on there like, I want to do color, I want to do yellows, reds, whatever it is, you know, blues. Some people love that. I'm more of a neutral girly. I love the whites and creams and then a pop of red. I love that. That's my thing. That's my thing, you guys. You can't steal it. You can't steal it. But I love like whites, creams, a pop of red, and then a bold gold. Bold, 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 bold gold. That's my aesthetic. Okay. So but not everybody loves that. You may want an all black wedding where everybody wears black and you're the only one coming down the aisle in like white or something. That's up to you. You can have a black tie wedding, you know, I'm just saying. But this is a time in your life where you start thinking about those things, and you know, so that when the time comes, you're not like just completely starting at the top and like have no clue. Okay. The next thing that we're going to talk about is going to be emotional readiness. So during this time of living with your parents, remember, this is still helping you to prepare for marriage and um, the wedding. So this is going to be emotional readiness. Now, we did talk a little bit about emotional readiness already, but as you guys can see, we are expanding on these topics. These topics are still in here because like we're still growing as a human being during this time. We didn't just stop at 14-year-old you through 18-year-old you and like those skills went out the window. No, we're expanding on them. They're getting better. We're checking in on ourselves to make sure that we are building on those, right? So now we're talking about emotional readiness. Oh my goodness. This is a time where you're going to work on communication and conflict resolutions. So we did talk about that before, and it's important that you guys understand how to resolve conflict, how to not call people out of their name, how to treat your significant other with respect. And this is also not just for you to speak to your significant other, your spouse, but it's also in how you are talking to yourself. Sometimes we could be so hard on ourselves and we don't realize that we need some emotional intelligence in that area as well. We need to do better when we talk about ourselves. Sometimes I could be so hard on my hair because it doesn't look like the majority of the world. And so sometimes I can like really, really, really like just say negative things about like my beautiful, gorgeous, coarse curls, right? I don't always think of them that way at all. So remember, it's also our inner speech, okay, that we have to work on to get better at. The next thing is going to be spend time reflecting on the qualities you want in a future partner and what you can bring to the relationship. Now, this is an extremely important one as well. Everything has been important, but this is extremely important. You need to be thinking about during this time, what is it that I am looking for? What is it that I would like in my spouse? What are deal breakers? There's things that people do and say and act that you may not want that in your life. You might not want that in your life. That may not be something that you want to live with forever. Okay. I know we can live with a lot of things, but that may be something that you're like, no way. There's a lot of great examples out there, but like we talked about, like building your faith starting at 14 years old, like what's your foundations and things like that, and bringing those foundations into your marriage. And what are you looking for in your partner is for their foundations too. Let's say that you attend church but the other partner doesn't. Or let's say that the other partner does, but they're not serious about their faith. Okay. It's more of a checkbox. Oh, yeah, I go to church, whatever. And it's not a big deal to them if they don't go. It's not a big deal. Well, the problem with this is that once you're married, that person could stop going altogether. And then now you aren't going to church either because they are going with you. It's going to be lots of questions whenever you go by yourself. Oh, where's your husband? Where's your husband? and like you don't have an answer for it, I'm telling you, be careful. You need to be looking at what you want in a husband. What do you want in your life partner? You're doing life together, okay? It's not a perfect thing, guys. Everybody's going to show all their colors and their cards before you get married. Just know that. Not everybody's going to show it all before you get married. They're going to wait until after you're married, and then they're going to start doing things, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, maybe it's video games. Maybe the other person plays video games, and like you never saw them play a video game before you got married. And now all they do is play video games in their spare time. That's their hobby. They don't have any aspirations in life, but just to play those video games. Okay. Are you willing to live with that? Is that okay with you that that's their hobby when they're not at work? It's just stuff to think about. And then you think about, like, what are you bringing to the relationship? Who are you? Remember, we talked about journaling and looking in within, and how are you growing as a human being? What about you? Do you really think that you're such an amazing catch for the person in your life, right? The person next to you? Think about it. We have to be real with ourselves. We have to be real with ourselves. We have little quirks and things about ourselves as well that not everybody is going to like. Not everybody is going to like it at all. Okay. And that's okay. The right person is out there for you. I truly believe that. I truly believe that there's someone out there for you. Okay. And you can't just settle. You can't just settle. You can't just give up and just be like, well, I have to take this person because they asked me to marry them. No, you don't. You really don't. So be thinking about what you can bring to relationship as well as what even your positive traits. Are you an amazing listener? Are you an amazing, like, affectionate person? Like, you love to give cuddles, you love to give kisses, things like that. It could be those things as well that you bring to the relationship that makes you so amazing and so awesome, right? Maybe you're a wonderful caregiver. Maybe when someone's sick, you really, really are good at nursing them back to better health, right? So be thinking about these things. And this is not just for the ladies. We're going to talk about it for the men as well, and what you can be bringing to the relationship. So let's see. When it comes to emotional readiness, just know that we'll be discussing dating for marriage. We'll be discussing dating for marriage in more detail in a later episode because it's a huge one. At this stage in your life, ladies, listen. You are not looking for a boyfriend. You're not looking for a husband. Remember, this is just my advice. You don't have to take it. You don't have to take it. But in this stage of your life, you're not looking for a husband. You're not looking for a boyfriend. I know you're wondering then, like, what then? That's why you're working on these other things. You're working on all these other things. Okay. And remember, we're going to be doing this also from the groom's perspective as well. So that is coming. That is coming. But I did want to share that with you, that we will be talking about dating for marriage in a future episode. Now, let's do a little bit of recap. This is going to be very quick. What did you do from age 14 to 22 years old? What did you do from high school through college, right after college, to prepare for your marriage, to prepare for wedding, to prepare before the proposal? What did you do? I want to hear it. Most of you that are planning your wedding are not going to be age 14 to 22. So I want to hear, what did you do in that time frame from age 14 to 22, those high school and college years? What did you do to prepare for marriage and for your wedding? Okay. You guys, I'm going to be seeing you in the next episode. I hope that you have thoroughly enjoyed this one. And yeah, I'm going to catch you in the next live stream. and I will see you then. Bye, guys.
Lights, camera, action, baby, strike a pose. Phones and cameras out, just watch it all unfold. We're the stars of the show, ain't no need for filters. Living life through the lens, capturing our thrills. Put away your phones and cameras, let the good times roll. Our content creators got it all under control. From weddings to events, parties, travel and brands, we're living the paparazzi life, it's all in our hands.
Lights, camera, action, we're ready to go. We're professionals, don't you already know? From TikTok to Instagram, we're taking the lead. Content creator, we're planting seed. Get ready for the social media explosion.